Okay. I always sit here and do a little bit of setup every stream. Just listen to music play and just hang out. Okay. So, here's what the plan is for today. So, at least as of right now, my current plans are just kind of starting with. Let me make sure that I have everything set up on the webcam. I plan on just kind of starting today off with some reaction stuff. I got a bunch of videos to watch and a bunch of stuff to look at from what I found on YouTube today. Then after that, maybe some Elden Ring, maybe Alan Wake 2. I bought that as well. But I kind of have a lot of games going right now. So, yeah. I don't know. Kind of whatever I'm feeling like. We'll see. I kind of want to try Alan Wake 2 right now, but it's also going to be like 2 or 3 hours before we even get there. So, yeah, we'll just start with some of the reaction shit. And by that, I mean, let's watch one of my favorite YouTubers. I Did a Thing. He uploaded a video, not too new, 5 days ago, but I haven't seen it until now. So we're gonna watch it real quick. So I don't give a shit.
I just made this spring trap from
I'm
Clash
going
of
good, bro.
Clans, which is definitely the scariest thing I've ever made.
Jeez.
So today I'm gonna break some
All
stuff
right.
with it, and possibly myself. Alright, now the spring trap from Clash of Clans doesn't work like a mouse trap or bear trap. In fact, it's kind of the opposite of a trap. There's no trapping involved. It defeats the purpose of a trap, as it just throws whatever steps on it away or closer to you using a big spring. And big springs aren't even the best if you want to throw people in the air. My preferred method would probably be a car airbag, which would allow me to finally live out my dream of being in a Live Leak video. Or the much more practical and safer option,
Bro.
compressed air, which is favoured by the special effects industry when throwing Korean pop stars in the air. But Clash of Clans wants me to use a giant
Oh, is that what they
spring,
do?
and also not to throw Koreans, which is a shame, but also good, as
Damn.
a giant spring is going to be a lot more fun and dangerous. So I started by stealing 2 of these from a children's playground, and they are car suspension springs, which I think will work, as I've seen videos
Jesus
of them shooting
Christ.
mechanics apprentice across the room. And the
Those
plan is
things are
pretty simple.
insane.
The spring is compressed in a box with a platform on top, essentially like a giant jack in the box. And then when you step on the platform, the spring releases upwards with 500 kilos of force. And this drawing isn't to scale, by the way. And in the
500
game, the
kilos of
character
force?
isn't able
Jesus
to launch
Christ.
giants in the air, so I'm just going to pretend a giant weighs less than 500 kilos. But as for launching a normal-sized person, here's some maths my mate did, so you can't blame me if it's wrong. And he said it'll be enough energy to launch a 75-kilo person upwards at 65 meters a second. And to put that in perspective, this is that same 75-kilo mate eating a meat pie at 0.1 meters a second. Better slow down there. So the first thing I did was connect the 2 springs together with some clamps and duct tape and this big brace that I made to form a mega spring. Now the most difficult part of this build is going to be the spring release mechanism, as when it's compressed it's going to be very hard to hold down and also very hard to release under tension. And I was thinking of using the trigger mech from my last video, but it's definitely not strong enough. So instead I made this, and this should be able to release the spring even while it's under a high load. Then I also made this winch from a winch I bought.
I don't know. I don't feel like. Oh, wait, that thing?
And this should be able to release the spring even while it's under a high load. Then I also made
I don't know, man.
from a winch I bought online. Then I just welded up a box for it all to go in. And I
Nice.
also welded up a frame with a big pipe in the middle so that the spring will sit around it and hopefully will be nice and comfy. And I also made this platform which will go on top so that it looks exactly like the level 5 spring trap from Clash of Clans. So we've got the winch underneath connected to my car battery, pulling down the platform and springs. And then there is a quick release here connected to the pressure pad on top. So then when I wind down the winch, if someone steps on the trap, it goes off. And I think it's almost done.
Nice, you put it down like that much the first try.
And see if the winch is even strong enough to fully compress the spring and then release it. And I know I say this a lot in every video whenever I do something dangerous, but this is by far the most dangerous thing I've ever done. The power in these springs is more than enough to kill me and my mate, the delivery man, and that guy that walks past my house and puts dog poop in my bin.
You're not wrong, but you also put a fucking... Here, I mean, let's look through this shit. This can't be the most dangerous thing you did because you put a fucking... A giant saw Beyblade he made. That's all pretty normal. Oh yeah, a sword fan. Yeah, there's that. Oh yeah, an automatic turret. A sentry turret, actually. Oh, and then another turret, but this time it goes on a robot dog. Also a punching glove that, like, explodes to hit you harder. I don't know, man. I just don't feel like that's the worst. This is the most dangerous thing that you've done so far. Fucking flamethrower. Yeah, like,
and
what
even
the fuck?
you watching at home. And that's why I'm so excited to test this. But first, a little bit more about the sponsor and the reason I made this. Clash of Clans, which is...
Oh, nice. Sure, you guys all know about Clash of Clans, so we will
So go get Clash of Clans now.
keep her going right there.
Alright, back to testing the trap. And because my roof is too low in the garage, I took it to my mate's warehouse to test it out. But unfortunately, my camera didn't record, but luckily I have his mobile footage.
From doing what?
Yep. 3, 2, 1.
Oh shit. Oh.
And that was very impressive, especially considering those bags were filled with 20 kilos of lead shot each, so 40 kilos or 80 pounds of combined weight. But it's also kind of annoying.
Holy
as
fuck,
originally
okay,
I
yeah.
wanted to do the real test in my yard, but after seeing the power it has, I don't think I can, as I live next to a preschool, and 12 kilo springs and kids don't mix that well. So instead I'm going to drop it on one of you,
He's
and
gonna
I went
kill
back
a
to Hamilton's
kid.
farm, who was nice enough to let me use it to spin up the giant Beyblade, and now he's going to let me use this monstrosity on his land. But first we had to dig up the ground. And we were about to start digging, but Hamilton thought of a really
I've used
great
one of
idea
those.
to save
That thing
time,
sucks
and that
ass.
was just
God.
to use part of this wombat hole to make it easier.
How do we tell if there's a wombat in here?
It's so annoying.
And this was his idea, not mine, so you can get angry at him. And unlike the wombat, the leeches were
So you can
very
get
happy
angry
to
at
see
him.
us digging. And in a matter of minutes, we had 10 or so on our feet, which I won't show you. Okay, that was pretty easy. So we put
Oh,
it in the
good thing.
ground with
Fuck,
some
that
grass
sounds so
around it
gross.
to make it look like it belongs here. And I just realized the worst case scenario for this trap, only after putting it in the ground. And that would be that when we winch the platform all the way down and then pull the quick release, it doesn't release. And then we are stuck with a loaded trap buried in the ground. And I guess we could also reverse the winch, but there's a chance that that doesn't work, and then I have no idea what we'll do. Maybe we can just leave it on Hamilton's farm until it goes off naturally. Also, another potential problem, since I'm using my car battery, if I use the winch for too long and it draws all the power, we are then stuck here on the farm.
Recording?
You're then stuck there. Shit.
Ah.
That's horrifying. So now he has to go back to get the fucking ball in there.
Well, now you just have a trap.
But luckily none of that was a problem for us, as it didn't work. So I tried again.
3, 2.
And somehow the winch bent the quick release, which I spent over an hour fixing while leeches were crawling up my leg in the rain.
Oh shit.
3.
Was he wearing shorts? That's the problem here. There we go. Didn't go too high, but my bad.
Even high. He pulled himself out of the ground.
And I wasn't happy with that at all. The melon didn't go very high.
I was just a melon.
Like the
Oh,
swing
okay,
trap,
well.
which almost jumped completely out of the ground, and so did the spring out of its cage. This guy here is meant to be on the outside of the pipe, but you can see that, look, It's now on the inside of the pipe. Okay, and I realized pretty quickly that I wasn't going to be able to
Alright,
fix the
shit.
problem on Hamilton's farm, so I took it back home to figure out. But then I realized it was worse than I thought, and the spring was actually stuck under tension, which made trying to fix the problem terrifying, which is why I called my mate over to stick his face really close to the high-powered spring.
What a fucker.
And I'm not completely sure what happened, but I suspect it may have been the heavier wooden platform on top, which caused the spring to overextend and get caught on the inside sleeve. As when we tested it in my mate's workshop, we did it without the platform on top. But eventually we figured out what we needed to do, and my mate cut out some wedges on the bandsaw. And then we shoved them in and hit the whole thing with a hammer until it came loose. Nice, now I got a nice sharp stick that can fly out. Beautiful. Yeah.
They're just trying so hard to get that shit out of there. Nice.
So I re-welded on the support.
A lot less
It
destructive
completely
than I would have thought.
and also made a lighter platform, and then set it up in my yard because I can't be bothered to go back to the farm.
Okay, well, screw the kids this time, right? Like, the fuck. The preschoolers will live. What the fuck? Wait, what? Oh, it exploded the melon. Okay. Holy shit. Never mind.
Split the melon in half just from the impact of the launch, but it didn't go that high. It separated the springs again, it broke the weight, and it stuck again. And also the spring did its thing again, but this time even worse. You're not meant to be on the inside. You're meant to be on the outside like the others. So now I'm once again shoving a chisel into a loaded car suspension spring, expecting it to shoot through my head at any moment. And I fixed that, but then discovered some other mysterious damage, like the cable that had almost snapped, and also this bolt hole which is somehow completely squished. So once I fixed all of that, I set it up for another test with this mannequin, which I stuffed 3 bags of sand into so it weighs 60 kilos or 130 pounds. And I know you all want me to stand on top of this spring trap, and I will, if this mannequin looks like it survives the launch. Okay, that's not going to happen. The mannequin is too heavy and is bending the spring in weird directions. So instead I used this baby doll, which I stuffed with metal weights, just like a real baby.
Oh, yeah. It looks like the baby survived, no problem.
And that
But
didn't
that
do much
sucked.
to the baby. I think I did way more damage when I was missing the trigger with the stick. So I tried again.
Aiming right at the preschool this time. Oh, there we go. It went pretty high that time around.
And that was alright, although I feel like the spring trap uses its energy to do more damage to itself than anything else I put on top.
100%,
But
because you
wanna
didn't put
see
it
a
fucking...
spring trap
Because you didn't make any of that shit structurally stable.
work properly. Go download Clash of Clans and scan.
Alright. Well, there's our first video. The other things that I wanted to look at... Fucking... Looks like Amazon Prime is making some cool shit. Like, you know, The Boys season 3, or season 4, I mean. But I wanted to see this, so I haven't seen any of this yet either.
Rome. Greece.
Rome and Greece, okay.
All democracies fail. Because people are fucking stupid.
Alright.
But if you crush the masses, who builds your monuments? Who tongues your taint?
Jesus Christ.
The people will
Oh, Frenchie has more hair.
tear it
Look at
apart
that.
themselves. You just gotta nudge them a little. Then you get to swoop in, be the one saving it,
Like Caesar.
like Caesar.
What the fuck? I don't like that.
Oh, hell.
Who wants their balls crushed?
Your team. What's your code name again?
The boys.
Oof. Who came up with that shit?
Jesus Christ. All right. Well, that shit looks amazing. I'm just so excited. I love this fucking. I love that show so much. And then this, I didn't know was happening. I just saw the trailer on my fucking YouTube feed, so I didn't even know this shit was like being made.
I know that I've lived a relatively comfortable life.
Stop! Lucy!
You need to go home. Vault dwellers are an endangered species. I do not think you would be willing to do what it takes to survive up here. If you insist on staying, then you will have to adapt.
So I've never actually played a Fallout game, to be honest.
Tomorrow, so they say, will be a lovely day. A bright new sun will suddenly break through. But I don't want to see tomorrow unless I see it with you.
Holy shit, alright.
And grabbed a moldy one.
April 12th. Okay. That shit looks good. That shit looks really good, actually. I'm kind of excited about that. That looks really fucking good. Yeah, holy shit, that looks really good. It looks like they're gonna lean super heavily into like the gory, weird, like radioactive like shit, you know? The stuff from the nuclear like fallout, which is cool. Which is really cool actually. So, I don't know, that's exciting. This is the new Internet Historian video, by the way. I haven't seen this either. It's 30 minutes long. But I don't know what the fuck it's supposed to be about or anything. So. Initial upload day before. Oh, okay. Hey, look at this. There's an invitation for conducting research towards the individuals. So, 48 hours. We're chilling. Not gonna re-upload it, so.
I want to tell you a secret. I'm just like you.
Mm-hmm.
We're both down here in the dirt. Mine just happens to be imported. You are fighting in traffic. am fighting charges of trafficking. We're so similar. You're working a 9-to-5 job, and I am having to look at that. We're both going through it. So don't hate me. I'm
Just
not
from
the
me at a
problem.
distance.
It's the wine snobs. They're the ones that look down on you. And
I've been saying that,
I
actually.
don't blame him. No, he's learning. Listen, let me pull you up by your bootstraps. What if I made you my little Pygmalion? That's a reference that you wouldn't get. You know what?
Shit, I don't get it. Fuck, am I supposed to get it? I really don't get it.
Perhaps I shall make a series of videos that will give you some sort of clue about fancy things. Yes, that's what I'll do. Something to give you just enough information to bluff your way through a fancy dinner.
Did you know
Ooh,
that Dan
okay.
Vinci painted the Mona Lisa?
Somebody had to hold open the
Dan
gates for the
Vinci.
barbarians. Why not me? So let's do it. Let's look at wine. The Mountain Dew of upper society. With wine,
Dude.
there is only one rule. Kill or be killed. And if you want to survive the night, here are 6 things you should know about wine.
All right. The fuck?
To you muggles, the words on these bottles must seem like a mystery.
Pie not no ire?
But us landlords, we, the pink Himalayan salt of the earth,
Noir.
we know what they mean. They are grape names. Look
Grape
upon
name?
this grapevine. It makes grape berries. Now, there are many different species of grape berry.
No, he's lying. There's 3 types of grapes. 4 types of grapes. Purple, green, kind of reddish, you know the one I'm talking about, and then the cotton candy ones. And that's it. That's it. And then there's, only really one good kind of grape, and it's those cotton candy ones. Otherwise, grapes are okay at best most of the time. Sometimes there's a batch that shit hits different, but grapes kind of mid, honestly. Hot take, grapes are mid.
And whatever the berry species is will determine the type of wine. This is Chardonnay, so it will make
Also known as green.
Chardonnay. Merlot grapes,
Also known as purple.
they make Merlot wine. Grape names are mostly French. Gross. But for example, in English,
I know, right?
Pinot
Oh.
Noir means black pine.
Those are blueberries, actually. He's lying. No such thing as blue grapes. We already went over this, and they're not even black. This shit's whack. bro.
Kinda looks like a black pine cone if you squint.
No,
Here's
dog.
some of the other names. You can pause it. I'm busy. Wine
I
grapes are
don't give a
not
shit.
like the kind you get at the supermarket.
Hey.
Those are table grapes. You can think of it kind of like the difference between cooking chocolate and regular chocolate. You can eat them, but they're overly sugary and kind of full of seeds and just not as nice to snack on.
Wait, but they're sugary?
But they're
I mean,
overly
they're
sugary
big-
and kind of full of
Oh, they're softer shit. Oh, okay.
seeds
Ew,
and just not as
seeds.
nice to snack on.
Yeah.
So the grape type is the main word on the bottle, but sometimes there are other words as well.
Holy shit, do they have cotton candy wine? Hold the fucking phone. Cotton candy grape wine. Oh my god. Why you'll probably never see cotton candy grape wine. Here's at tasting. Oh, here at Tasting Table, we're all about good recipe. Wine isn't just about cooking. Cotton candy grapes are a hybrid species. Yeah. What? Cotton candy grapes don't simply grow on vines. To generate growth, scientists have to extract embryos from. Wait, plants have embryos? What the shit? That doesn't even fucking... What? That's okay. Hold up. Grape. I don't know how to fucking spell with this shit. There we go. Images. I'm fucking confused. I don't get it. It's okay. Doesn't matter. Anyways. They're expensive, yes, but I want wine. It's so bad, it tastes nothing like cotton candy. No acidity structure gives you a... Oh. I want to try it, though.
For example, this Bourgogne. What the hell is a Chablis? It's all regions. Allow me to explain. Through the medium of song. There's
So we're doing the Rocco's thing.
Also, there's Burgundy. Don't forget Chablis Bordeaux. This one's from Italy. This one's from Italy. This one's from France. This one's from France. This one's from France. This one's from France. They're all from France. We're Italy.
Yeah.
Look, the general rule is, if you see a term you don't understand, it's probably just the French or the Italians being all la-dee-da about their particular region. All right, let's move on to price. Come on, I know a place. We're here. I can tell by the name on the sign. Now, don't embarrass me, I didn't bring my ID. Fiddle-TD, look at all these bottles. So many options. Ooh, a cheeky $200 bottle. And here, oh, a $20 bottle. Now, I bet this $200 bottle tastes way better, right? Like it's got to be 10 times better than this one. That's just
Wrong.
basic math. Go on, though. You choose one. Oh, no. Well, it was supposed to be a trick question, but they both taste pretty similar, right? There's not some threshold that you get to where it gets more expensive, and then it tastes better, and then more expensive again, and it tastes even better, until it gets so expensive
I don't know
and
anything
so
about wine,
incredible
so...
that it's like nothing you've ever had before. Break through the conditioning. This is just old grape juice. Now, if you're a little bi-curious about a more expensive bottle, sure, why
fucking
not?
stupid.
Gold letters grace the label, hand engraved by goldsmiths. Famed wine critics described the taste as mind-boggling.
But realistically, after about $60, the flavor doesn't get much better. In fact, it plateaus out and it can even go down. The best quality to price
Oh, he actually has real sources. So I made it up. But then real sources.
all the way over here, much lower, about $20. That's how much you should spend on a bottle of wine. Now, some people will say
that I'm putting my heart and soul into this thing. I'm making an art, a form of art. How much is that worth? How much is art worth?
about
$20.
$20.
Yeah.
But what about the Vintage? Whoa, look at this. A couple of cromulent slender necks.
Vintage.
And they're the same price as well. But this one is from 2019, and this one is from 2022.
Which means this one's better because it's older. I know my wine.
Surely the older one is the better one.
That's what I've been saying. Yes, exactly.
No. Many people think that the wine aging goes like this, and the flavor just keeps getting better over time. Wrong.
Oh.
The wine at the store has already been aged at the winery. I don't need to be more aged by sitting on this shelf and just collecting dust, or spending years at the back of your pantry at home. If I'm for sale, I'm ready to be consumed. I'm ready to have your hot lips wrapped around me. In fact, the general rule goes...
Have your hot lips wrapped around me. Holy shit. He's getting wild with this one.
Corked bottle should be drunk within 5 years, and a capped bottle within 1 year. Come, there's more.
Hold up, wait, does it? Come. Sorry. Wait, does, like, I've never had wine. Literally never had wine. So, like, whenever you unscrew the thing, does it make, like, the soda, like, psst, That shit? Does it make that noise?
Oh. Let's pretend I am a waiter at a restaurant. You happen to be wearing a shirt, and so I have mistaken you as a paying customer. As a waiter, the first thing I will press you about will be food pairings. White wine with fish? A Merlot with pork? Well, kid, I'm going to have to pair this truth nugget with something you don't want to hear. The food pairing doesn't really matter. It's all completely subjective.
Yeah, no
it's
shit.
cuisine by horoscope. It's food astrology. Pay no attention to the sommeliers in the comments section. They are bullshitting to upsell.
Get the more expensive one.
Yeah, wait, no, I feel like this was, at least I thought this was common knowledge that, like, most people who are just, with foods in general, most foods that are way, way more expensive to, like, an insane amount more expensive is, like, no better than, like, fucking cheese fries from, like, the random store down the street. Right, like, as far as, I mean, I could be some crazy dude, but, like, the common experience that I've heard from most people trying, like, an A5 Wagyu steak is they're like, yeah, but I could have gone to, like, Texas Roadhouse and spent, like, $20 and gotten a steak I would have enjoyed about the same and not had to spend, like, $300 on a fucking steak. Like, that's kind of the consensus I feel like I hear a lot, at least.
It goes better with the spaghetti.
Or they are a Pisces and you shouldn't trust their opinion anyway. Something else to expect at a restaurant?
I've been saying that.
Expect
Don't ever trust
to
the
get ripped
Pisces.
off by the markup. Most restaurants add a 250 to 300% markup on their wine. And the cheaper the bottle, the higher the proportional markup tends to be. So a $20 bottle will turn into an $80 bottle, but a $100 bottle may only rise to $150. Most people get the second cheapest bottle.
So what you're saying is get the most expensive bottle because then it isn't marked up as much. Think about that, liberals. Yeah. I honestly don't get, like, expensive ass wine. Do you get to go home? Hold up, I just realized whenever, okay, like I said, excuse me because I don't fucking understand how wine do. Whenever I buy a bottle of wine at a restaurant, right, for $80, hypothetically, this Cornella Pinot Noir, Cornella Pinot Noir, yeah, I guess so. Whatever the fuck that is. It says Australia on it. Fuck that. Oh, can we get a different one? No. All right. Anyways, the Cornelia, whatever. So it's a $20 bottle of wine, right? It's being sold for $80 at this restaurant. Do they, like, whenever I say, hey, like, you know, again, I want some wine, do I have to buy the entire fucking bottle? And do I get to, like, go home with it afterwards? Do I get to take that shit home? Because I don't see people walking out of restaurants with, like, wine. Like, they don't got fucking the whole ass handle of wine.
May only rise.
Handle of wine, I don't think is the correct usage of that term at all, but just, I don't know alcohol at all. I don't know anything about liquor.
To 150. Most people get the second cheapest bottle on the menu, regardless of the pairing, and that'll do just fine. And that's it. No more tips. Unless you want to leave me one. Actually, you know what? I got a fucking tip for you, mate. Ad time.
Huh.
I bet you're wondering how I got this cog in my knee.
What
That's
the fuck
because
is
I became the
Incogni?
face of Incogni, the service that helps you be forgotten on the internet. I used to be a humble florist. One day we received a shipment of forget-me-nots. But inexplicably I fell in and ate a bunch of them. I forgot everything that day. Mouth's face. That kind of looks like you have a dark up there. Take this. No.
Jesus Christ.
Because I stay
Jesus Christ, bro. The longest fucking ad.
Whoa, that's a good deal. Ad over.
That's
Welcome to the Wine Underground. We have our meetings here because it stays at a very pleasant temperature. You know, us wine masons, we control everything. We are few, but many. That doesn't make sense. Look at the back of this bottle. See the No Fat Chicks logo? We put
Oh,
that
you're
there.
right.
It is the symbol of our organization. We have
The
a
No Fat
dirty
Chicks.
finger in every glass of government and corporation stuff. If you cross us, oops, perhaps you'll have a little accident. Last year, little upstart tried to make wine actually taste good. You know, like how grape soda does. Cut him up so good he had to get stitches. We caught one reporter trying to dig around into our operations. We all know how that one ended. With an airstrike. All right, my little juice
Oh,
box.
shit.
I'm going to let you in on a secret. Why is champagne called champagne? Well, I'll tell you. It all began
That's
in
champagne.
1668. In the Abbey of
stupid
St.
ass.
Peter in northeast France, there's something spooky going on.
Champagne.
It's springtime, and in the cellar where they keep all the wine, bottles would suddenly, unexpectedly, explode. Now, this was especially common during morning mass. Ho ho, that's a bad omen. Sometimes the explosions would cause little chain reactions, and bottle after bottle would break down the line, ruining the majority of the crop. The peasants were frightened and also parched.
Sacre Bleu, lay wine. What is happening?
The monks would refer to this as the devil's wine.
Les Wine is cursed.
Le God, he must be anger at us. We need a hero.
In walks Dom Perignon. He is just the man for the job. A Benedictine monk at the abbey, he's got a new role, the cellar master. And it's his mission to find out what the hell is going on here. So Dom starts looking at all the bottles. And what he figures out pretty quickly is that the wine itself is releasing gas. The gas builds up pressure and...
Oh, holy shit. So it does make the fucking, the pss, or the pss, or I don't know, whatever the fuck, the sound whenever you open up the bottle, you know? It makes the pss. This one isn't carbonated, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. Holy shit, I didn't
Why
know that.
that is happening, he doesn't know. But it's his job to stop it. So he gets to work, trying
getting
all sorts of things to
old.
stop his mortal enemy. The
Fizziness.
bubbles.
Or not fizziness,
In the first
but
year,
the
he tried insisting that
air.
only the youngest grapes be picked.
Perhaps this will stop your bubbles.
And it didn't. The next year, he changed up how the grapes were pressed.
Push harder, we'll squeeze out the bubbles.
Son of a bitch. He tried picking the grapes very early in the morning and no other time. Nope. And on and on. The bubbles would win the battle every year. For 8 long years, he tried all sorts of different things. And no strategy worked. No, the bubbles. Eventually, he was at the point of almost giving up. Until one day, hey, what if the wine is still fermenting? So he takes a couple of the bottles and he opens them and, it is. We ferment the wine. Once it's done, it goes into the bottle. How does it then start fermenting again? How is that possible? And here the mystery was solved. So it turns out, in North France, they have very fast
Probably
changing
from
seasons.
oxidation,
And owing to
or-
that, the
No?
yeast doesn't actually
Okay,
get
never mind.
time to do its job. Instead, it would get cold very quickly in the winter, and all the yeast would go dormant. Then the winemakers would go, oh, brilliant, fermentation slowed down, it must be done. They would then bottle it, and they would store it. But once summer came back around, the process would...
So they didn't wait long enough, is what you're saying. Amateurs. I could never make that mistake.
spring back
Not
to
with
life,
my wine.
And carbon dioxide would build up and... Okay, he thinks. I cannot change the climate. Perhaps I shall not win the war against the bubbles. Now, the bubbles are his enemy, and he has another enemy. The English.
Longer.
Therefore, the
Yeah,
enemy
no.
of
Fuck the English. I've been saying that.
his enemy or something. Anyway, he starts talking to the English, and he goes, hey, how do you guys stop your bottles from exploding? And the British go,
You what, mate? Core! Well, peep at how thin the bloody glass be in it. Thin glass is the problem. Thank you for using this text-to-speech preview. For a paid version, please go to...
See, the English have created new coal-fired bottles with much thicker glass. Then they put a cork in the top and it allows them to make very foamy beer.
The growth of English population. And whatever.
That's right.
I got it.
He could just
More
use
glass.
thicker
They have
bottles,
better
and he
glass.
won't have to worry about stopping the bubbles at all. So Dom goes running.
Wait, so he never once was like, you know, maybe if we make a better bottle, then the bottle won't explode. You're telling me that wasn't like part of the thought process there? That's fucking insane.
Back to France. He's panting, he's sweating, and there's bits of brie on his shirt. He's going, better bottles, better bottles. Everyone's confused and terrified, but they give it a shot. And there it was. The people of France loved it.
I love this new style.
Even the French royals were enjoying new wine, TM. He even started adding extra yeast and sugar to really get the bubbles going. And so Dom Perignon had created what we call today champagne. Now, there's a 19th century marketing campaign that says the moment he uncorked his champagne for the first time, he tried it and said, come quickly, I am tasting the stars. But that's actually a myth. He never really said that. But there's still a problem. And this one, Dom cannot fix. The pulp. If you bottle wine while it's still fermenting, so that you can keep the bubbles in, you're also trapping in a bunch of dead yeast and debris and gross particles too. Also, it's all cloudy. No, we want it clear. We want it crystal looking. How will we ever solve this problem? Dom dies.
Jesus Christ. I was gonna say, did this guy like invent like white wine as well, or was it just champagne? I was like, that's fucking insane.
1805. In walks Madame
Guess not.
Clicquot.
I'm also French. I have come to remove all the little beats. I will clench my teeth together and go pitou back into the bottle.
Now,
Oh, she's a fucking genius.
Madame Clicquot was a very shrewd lady. Her husband died when she was in her early 20s,
My husband is dead. Lol.
and part of the estate she was bequeathed included a winery. She immediately got to work, making it into a successful business.
I shall invent a process called lay riddling.
Here's what you do, right? You put these bottles on a rack at a 35-degree angle with the top facing down. Every 2 days, she would give the bottle a little shake and slightly increase the angle. After 8 to 10 weeks, all of the sediment would come to rest in the neck of the bottle. All right, quick tangent. Did you know that when you increase the salt concentration in water, you can drop its temperature down much lower without it freezing?
Yeah, I did actually know
Tangent over. So she takes this sub-zero salt water and dips the neck of the bottle in there. Then lets it sit until the neck freezes. Now you have a sort of frozen cork filled with all of the gross pulp, and then you simply pop off the top. And the whole thing goes shooting out as a fun prank for your friends and family. Then they add in a little more extra base wine and sugar and leave it to age. And with that, Clicquot has just created a clear, sparkling wine. And that is Ridley. And Madame Clicquot is...
The Riddler.
So Dom Perignon and Madame Clicquot are both credited as the godfather and godmother of champagne. Today, the Dom and Clique brands are owned by LVMH, the same parent company that owns Louis Vuitton, Tag Heuer, Tiffany & Co., Hennessy. Actually, pretty much every luxury brand. But why is it called champagne? Well, that's because it comes from the Champagne region, you dummy. And anything else with bubbles is just sparkling wine.
So anything that doesn't come from that region of the world is is just sparkling wine. All right, I didn't fucking know that. It's like fucking what is it bourbon that's out way in Kentucky? Can bourbon only be made in Kentucky? In any of the 15 American states? Oh. So Kentucky bourbon can only be made in Kentucky. What the fuck? All right. I'm from, or not from, but like I lived in Kentucky for a few years, and so like my whole life I thought that any bourbon made outside of Kentucky was not bourbon or whatever the fuck. I don't know. Liquor has stupid ass rules for stupid ass people to follow. I feel like pretty much all liquors have a lot of really dumb rules that aren't necessary in really any way. I feel like maybe it's just me, but like, why do we have to do all this shit? It's just like, I don't know. It's just weird.
Oh, it's you. I was just looking out over the sunset. You know how it is. Thinking about stuff that happened in the past. I remember it all too well. It was literally 1984. I was walking home with my parents from the opera.
Come on, keep up. We're nearly there.
Hey,
Oh,
let's take a little shortcut, they said.
We can come through here.
We were walking down a well-lit alleyway. It was nothing but quaint restaurants and bistros. Then suddenly, a man holding a bottle of Shiraz came out of nowhere. Just a tipple, he said. I was terrified. I knew nothing about wine. Go on, he said. My hands were shaking, knees weak, arms heavy. Complex aroma, wouldn't you say? Ooh, very good tannins. Oh, really?
If I ever fucking hear somebody in real life say this shit has this has such a complex aroma, I will fucking kill them on the spot. Like, full stop there. I think that's an appropriate reaction. I encourage everybody watching this to do that. Yeah. Because that shit's whack. The fuck? It doesn't have a complex smell. It just has a smell. Things just have smells. You're fucking stupid.
Yep. What's a tannin? I don't know.
A what? Tannin?
My parents died from embarrassment right there on the spot.
It's fucking stupid. They died of embarrassment.
Tibble. It's too late for me, but I don't want the same thing to happen to you. That's why we have to learn about how to serve wine.
Oh.
So you've bought a bottle of wine to show your friends and family how successful and sophisticated you are. Did you know that Da Vinci painted the Mona Lisa? So let's go through how to serve the big three. White, red, and champagne. Let's say you've bought champagne. That bottle
I've seen that
goes
video.
in the fridge. Champagne is served cold always. To open, peel off the foil and do not aim it at your face. Then twist off the metal thing. If you want people to think you're fancy, use the proper word, muselet.
Muselet.
It helps to contain the pressure. Again, don't aim this thing at your face. It's really worth repeating. The PSI inside a champagne bottle is 70 to 90. That puts it in the same league as a nail gun.
That's
so
fucking
the cork comes out
insane.
at about 50 miles an hour. And if you're in a house, you want to hold onto it very firmly with your hand. If you're Bezos, or you just won the Grand Prix, fling it over some ladies. But if you want to be really fancy, you can
The fuck was that noise?
This has been a tradition for a couple hundred years, popularized by Napoleon. After each victory, the army would use their sabers to crack.
So, this is kind of funny. In Kentucky, there's this ginger ale that you can only get there. It's only in Kentucky for some reason. Ale 8. Haven't had it in forever. Shit's fire. I don't know why it's only in Kentucky. I really don't, but shit's actually pretty good. I really like it. I'm not a big ginger ale type person. I don't like whatever the fucking what other ginger ales are there? There's Canada Dry. There you go. That's the other one I'm thinking of. And then Seagrams. I don't really like either, not gonna lie. They're both kind of mid at best, right? But this shit kind of slaps. Ginger ale, or LA does. Specifically, their cherry is insane. They have a orange also, or is it orange cream? I can't remember. I think it's just orange, but it could be orange cream. See it there. It's orange cream. Okay, the orange cream is also okay, but the good one is the cherry. Oh my god, I fucked this shit up. Oh my. But anyways, we used to get it. They come in bottles though, and it's kind of awesome. They come in like their own little cooler because it's its own they're their own distributor. I don't think they're not owned by like Coke or Pepsi or anything like that. And so what they do is they have them in their own bottles and stuff. You can get them refilled at gas stations. You can buy like refillable bottles. That's what this is. This is one of those, at least it looks like one of those refillable bottles, whereas the ones that look like these aren't. Anyways, beyond this though, me and my friends, a lot of the times that's what we would do is we would take a fucking like a kitchen knife or something, or a steak knife even, and we would just pop that shit off the top and then drink it like that. Shit was fire. These things were so good, especially like, because at least the way that it was for us is like, you buy this shit, it was like it was like probably $10. This says 11. It's probably about, it's more between $10 and $12 for a case of 6. I was like, we would buy that shit, and then that would be our drinks for work. Like, we would drink that while we were doing like construction work, and shit was fire. I fucking love that actually.
But the sword's just ceremonial. You can use pretty much any blunt object to knock off the top. A phone.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
This fish head. If it's cold, it shouldn't fizz over too much, but you might want to have someone on the side with a ready glass. The glass type should either be a tulip or a flute. Although, if you've seen The Great Gatsby, you may notice that they use these. Up until the mid-1900s, people used coupes. That's because, back in the day, excessive effervescence wasn't very cool. So these cups helped actually dispel the bubbles faster. In fact, sometimes they'd even use a small whisk or a fork to dissipate all the bubbles. Now, there's actually an old myth that the shape and size of the coupe was molded from one of Marie Antoinette's buboes. But it's probably not true.
What the fuck?
Eventually, bubbles became a fancy feature, so the flute was adopted. They can be made from glass, but preferably they're made from crystal, so that they shimmer as much as possible. And the best flutes would also feature a small rough spot right there at the center of the glass at the bottom to create a sort of tornado of bubbles. Anyway, as you pour, tilt sideways so it isn't all head, and don't pour more than 2/3 full. Done. White wine. White wine is best served chilled too. 10 to 15 degrees though, not fridge cold. Use a small glass bowl and pour to about half full. And when you drink, do a little sniff test and, aerate it a bit. Then hold it down low on the stem so your hands don't heat up the liquid. If it's not to your taste, cut it with 50% Sprite and add a few ice cubes.
Oh, okay.
Done.
That's probably how I'd like it.
Red wine is not chilled. It is served at room temperature. When you first open it, you're supposed to let it sit for a while to oxidize. That gives it more flavor. Although if you don't want to wait, you can just pour it into a decanter. That does the same thing. To drink from, we want a big bowl on a stick, so you get a full face of the aromas of the grape blood. When you pour the thing, fill it about 1/3 full. That's pretty much it.
Why does that matter?
When it comes to wine snobbery, red wine snobbery is at the top of the Maslow hierarchy.
Crushed white rock. It's like almost like a rock quarry.
Oh my god, shut up. And there's a taste testing thing that people do, and they all go a bit mental, and it's kind of gross, and it looks dumb. But if you think you're ready for the ultimate test, ready to take the one-chip challenge of enology, then here's how you do it. When the waiter comes over, insist on taking a teensy sample. Inspect for color, clarity, and legs. Legs refers to how viscous the wine is. Smell it. Smells like a red wine. Swirl
So our legs
around
good?
on the table, making a loud scratching noise, so that everyone knows you're a connoisseur.
Swirling the wine glass is almost like turning up the volume on this.
The way that he fucking rolled his R's on the connoisseur.
Oh, you're a connoisseur.
That shit's wild.
Filling the wine glass is almost like turning up the volume on the stereo.
When you taste it, you're supposed
To
to
do
get
what?
it over every part of your mouth, so that when you brush your teeth later, it's awful. Then take in big sips of air. This is where you comment on the texture and taste. Complex notes! You yell across the room. Now this is the best part. You can just make shit up about vanilla
Yeah, that's what
smatterings
I'm saying.
or citrusy undercurrents. I swear, there's a hint of blueberry. It's one of those things that's kinda true, but subjective enough that no
Wines are very loud and flavor from many different subtle tastes that people were able to pick out. These are reactive compounds. Wine through its production is able to bring out traces of these, but just a hint of them. Not really a real flavor as such. So what you're saying is it's the less than 1% difference, or the 1% difference.
no one can really refute you. So make a big show of it.
There is a little bit of an earthiness, almost a graphite clay note to this.
It's a little bit meaty. It's a little bit sort of rustic.
There are
What the fuck do you mean by meaty whenever you're talking about wine? Hold the fucking up.
Note to this.
It's a little bit meaty.
At least earthy is like something that you could. It's made of grapes, right? The fuck do you mean meaty? The hell? I hate this guy already.
It's a little bit sort of rustic.
There are definitely
Rustic,
hints
shut the
here
fuck
of
up,
Monster
bruh.
Ultra sugar-free. If this is a taste test and you're sampling dozens of wines, you want to spit out the sample into this gross bucket so you don't get too drunk. Do not ask the waiter if you can drink from the bucket.
Well,
It's
then
the waiter's
that's
privilege, and he's very.
Hold up. What? People are starting to collect it and redistill it into liquors. Gross. It's cooked so the germs can't decide, but still. No, 100% it's still gross. What the fuck? But I think I should be allowed to drink the bucket if I want to.
Do not ask.
Also, what's the point in drinking wine? Like, and tasting a ton of wines in a row if I'm not trying to get drunk, you know? Like, the fuck? What else am I trying to do right now?
Ask the waiter if you can drink from the bucket. It's the waiter's privilege, and he's very protective of it. And that is how to serve wine. Okay, that's a lot of shitting on wine, people.
And we shouldn't get bullied.
No, you should.
But let me do a quick 180. Because overall,
Wow, that was an insane
wine is good.
That was
and
a
a little
360.
wine
Hold up.
snobbery can be good also. Being into wine is one of the great dad hobbies. One day
Moms
you will
are
have a
bad
model
too.
train set in your basement, complete with a little walking path and the grass just right. The best part about this hobby is building the thing, getting it just perfect, and then making people sit there while you explain the little trains in excruciating detail of how they work. Now, the fun of Warhammer, that's when you save up for the little Space Marine man, you take him out of the packet, you put on a podcast with some Warhammer in the background,
Of all the Primarchs, Horus is the best kisser.
and you slowly paint it yourself. And then you argue with your mates later about why the Necrophiles are the best race. There are people that spend like tens of thousands of dollars on coffee machines and equipment. And then it takes like an hour to make a coffee, and it's like only 5% better, maybe, than the ones you get at the cafe. Now, I could be Mr. Killjoy and come in and go, what's the point of that? Why not just buy it from the cafe? Why not just...
I think, okay, here's what's different about coffee versus like making really. I don't drink either. I should put that out there. I do sit in a very non-biased position here. I grew up in a Mormon household, right? So I didn't have coffee or wine around me at all. And still to this day, like I'm still barely trying to get myself like adapted to the flavor of coffee. And then I'm 18. I can't drink yet. So wine's not in the cards here. But the difference is like, I think wine is just a bunch of made up bullshit. Like the vast majority of it is. Whereas I do think coffee probably tastes a little different, but more like aesthetically, it's so pleasing to make coffee. Like the fucking TikTok videos that you see of like people just, I don't know, making their own espresso and shit with their espresso machine and like all that, like, oh my god, that shit slaps so hard. I have no idea why, but like the vibes there are immaculate. Like you just can't do anything better than that as far as vibes go.
Just get a pre-painted Space Marine. Why not have someone else just install the train set? But then there's no ceremony, there's no fun, there's no hobby. Wine is very similar. They're getting a little bit too obsessive about the thing and being like,
some lemon zest as well, lemon pith. Super tangy.
Is the purpose of wine. It's the fun of wine.
Because, like, that's the thing. I don't think coffee people, like, taste the coffee that they've made. I think they're just like, that's good, right? I think that's what they say. Or they say, oh, yeah, that's better than Starbucks or whatever the fuck, right? That's better than if I went out and got it. But they're not like, yeah, that you know what? It's kind of almost reminds me of something. It's like, taste just a tang of like the ocean, right? Like people don't just make shit up for fucking coffee. They do for wine.
Which is why wine is better than just some old grape juice. And you fucking wine loser snobs, you know what? You're all right.
No. This isn't the takeaway that I'm allowing him to give from the video. They're not all right. They deserve to be made fun of.
And that's about it. There's just one last thing left. The practical. Come on, my little nouveau biche. I booked out a whole restaurant. They serve some of the best blue whale caviar here. All right, you did it. You sat through the whole video without crying. I think this calls for a toast. Steady now. Whoop.
Jesus Christ.
Uh-oh.
The fuck?
I can't believe you killed again. But it's okay. I feel like we're becoming close
Can't believe
friends
you
who can
killed
keep
again.
secrets and stuff. And because we're such close friends, I'm going to keep teaching you things. That's right. You're going to be just like me.
Oh.
I just
Yay.
cannot tell which of this is blood and which wine. By the way, this is the second video. If you haven't seen the first one, which is on Fancy at the Theatre, go look at it over here. But there's also Fancy, the Arts, on Incognito. That's already live, and there's the next Incognito on its way. Do not forget Story Mode. Do not forget Incogni. And do not...
He's actually been producing a lot more content lately, which is kind of cool. Because it used to be like once a year he'd fucking put shit out. But it was always really good when he did, you know? Like the Engoodening of No Man's Skies is a fucking insanely good video. Is that his biggest one? No, the Fall of 76. That makes sense. It's the second biggest video. Jeez, 76. Fall of 76 sucked so much cheeks. It was so bad. Alright. And here's the last thing that I kind of wanted to watch. I don't know if I'm going to watch the whole thing, because this shit might get kind of annoying. But I did figure that it might be kind of fun to look at this and just kind of see. I've wanted to get my, I guess, like, my political commentary side kind of out of here. I've been itching to do something with that. You know, however small, but like I've been wanting to do. Sorry, I had to burp there. I've been wanting to do something, something relatively political for a little while now, and I just have never really gotten to it, but I'm super about it, and now I feel like it might be time to make fun of some stupid people.
Tell me what rights we don't have, what laws that we don't have.
Girl, I'm gonna send you.
No, I want to know. I want to know.
Say it now.
No,
if you're gonna sit here and tell us that we're
We are
Jesus
approaching
Christ.
the
All right.
150th episode of Melodramedy.
Don't care. All right.
The LGBTQIA+ community has moved too far to the left.
Oof, girl. How many letters are there?
How many? 100?
So funny.
It's difficult because, you know, I think what was once like a very loving and accepted community has pushed so far to the left that, you know, we're seeing this massive pendulum swing that is coming back the other direction that is going to put our entire community, unfortunately, in danger because
It already has.
It already has, because it has gone so far to the left rather than being a good common sense middle ground, that now people who did not used to carry a prejudice against us or have an issue with our community are suddenly finding themselves to have prejudice against the LGBTQ community.
We have prejudice against ourselves.
That's true. Even I'm developing a prejudice.
Yeah, like
at
I
this
can't
point.
stand lesbians now. Like there are people here, and
That's
I
so
won't call out
funny.
individuals, but there are people here that I was friends with, that I literally went on vacations with, that have unfriended me, unfollowed me, just
So, real quick, touching on what she just said, having a prejudice. Okay, there's two groups here, right? I wouldn't consider. I think I fall a little bit further on the liberal side than the conservative side. I don't think that's a massive secret, but like, there's very, very clearly one group, right, who is talking about having a prejudice one way or another, and there's another group that's talking about inclusivity. There might be one group that's a little bit a little bit better as far as moral justification goes, right? Like, what the fuck?
for simply standing up to, or standing up for young lesbians and gay men who are calling themselves all these other genders, or because I'm not for children transitioning, or just because I voted for Trump, you know, and it's a shame because we want to be, we don't want to be, rather, we don't want to be a hive mind, right? We are, like the whole point of being, one of the points of us being lesbians is that we're different. We have different outlooks on life. We have different talents.
I feel like with a lot of marginalized groups, the biggest downfalls to them is simply when usually outside groups create division, a left and a right. The left doesn't accept the right doesn't accept the left, and then that divides all of us. Instead of being one powerful group, it just crumbles. We're divided.
I think it's unfortunate that sexuality is tied to a, you know, political outlook to begin with. That is no longer like, oh, Republicans don't want gay people to exist. Like, that's not a thing anymore, and I think it's so unfortunate.
That's so untrue. That is so untrue, because there are so many people who are like, there are so many just like radical conservatives who are just like, yeah, my son ain't ever gonna be gay. Well, I'm gay son, me, I ain't ever have a gay son. And it's like, dude, you don't get to control that. Your son's gay. Fucking womp womp. Deal with it. It's not even a bad thing, right? Like, the fuck do you want?
How politicized our entire community has become.
I think it's important to note that we're here calling ourselves conservative lesbians, but we're really, like, some of us aren't really conservatives. We're just non-leftists. And we haven't really moved. Like, people call me a grifter, whatever they want to call me. I haven't moved over the years. I've been stagnant. Like, I am set in my morals. I'm in my mid-30s. Like, I know where I'm at. And people, mainly the LGBT, whatever community, moved further and further left. I stayed where I was, and somehow I was the one that was ostracized.
I don't think the LGBTQ community moved further left. I think that there was one group who was saying, hey, let's not let them marry each other and like not give them rights and, you know, the basic human things that we now to this day still have to fight for sometimes. And then there's another group who's like, you know, hey, let's give these people these things. It's not about the goal. Like, it's not about them moving, right? It's more just like, why are we outright restricting certain certain rights to people? And like, that over time has obviously changed, but like, still to this day, there is one group who is pushing anti-LGBTQ, anti-gender affirmative care laws in America. Again, I'm not speaking for anything other than America, but like, there's one side, the conservative side, the conservative Republican side, that generally speaking is always pushing for anti-LGBTQ, like, again, whether it's specifically not even specifically gay rights or lesbian rights. It's, you know, it's trans, like I said, gender affirmative care, right? Like that shit is being, those rights are being, you know, people are trying to step on those as often as possible. And it's like, fucking just let people live.
Well, that's because what used to be moderate is now considered conservative. And what used to be your general liberal, which I think a lot of us at one point probably aligned ourselves with, is no longer that. It is so far past that, which, you know, I had to draw a hard line. I'm not with this anymore.
We all can have different beliefs. You can be this race and still think this way, or be gay and think this way. So it's just really sad to see. And I feel like, you know, our community has been used so much to push other things. Like 100%. We're being used as a shield. So everyone...
Queers for Palestine? Really? Really? Go to Palestine as a queer person. See what happens.
The fuck is your point there? Hold up. I want to get into that shit. What do you mean? Go to okay, yeah, fucking... There are still people being subjugated to like hundreds of years of just like brutalities, and you're saying that we're just going, you know, just because, yeah, okay, you're right, that area of the world hasn't figured out their rights around LGBTQ whatever. You're right, they haven't. The average age in Gaza is 18, I'm pretty sure. They got other shit they're dealing with. I hate to be that way, but like number one priority is like living past becoming an adult. Like becoming old enough to turn into an adult is kind of their top priority, you know? Like living is kind of their biggest like thing that they have to worry about right now, not getting fucking bombed. Like shut the fuck up. You're stupid as hell. You know it. The dumbest thing I've ever heard in my fucking life.
Somebody's gonna have to sit next to me.
Conservatism itself means that you like the things that are going now, and that traditionally it's going good for you, for us. I personally disagree with that because of the things that I have been through. The discrimination from everyone doesn't matter.
What is this weird, like, sorry, what is this weird, like, fucking, am I the only one who sees that? There's like it's almost like lighter around her for some reason. It's fucking kind of weird.
The discrimination from everyone doesn't matter whether they're left or right or, you know, not part of the community is not working for us. It's not working for me, at least.
Can I ask you a question? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, for sure.
You know how people on the left have redefined the word woman?
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean?
A lot of people that identify on the far left, LGBT or not, have redefined the word woman to mean basically anything.
Yeah, I'm non-binary. I use they, them pronouns.
So there you go. Okay, so you have changed the meaning or the whatever, right? Conservatism is just the opposite of leftism at this point, as far as I'm concerned. So I just want to make sure that
so
that is
what are you
known.
saying the opposite of leftism?
What are you trying to
The
say?
New Age
Just say it.
conservatives are really old age libertarians or like moderates or just classic liberals for the most part. So I just to make sure like we're on the same page a little bit. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So what I'm saying is,
Yeah, there was a fucking party swap. What does it matter? What point are you trying to make there? Regardless, you have a different opinion on a subject. Talk about that. What the fuck are you? What point are you trying to make? You're making a non-point. Oh yeah, we used to be left. Yeah, you used to be left because those ideas. The whole point of being liberal versus conservative, the definition of liberalism, right? Or not even liberalism. What is it? Okay, so like the definition or the idea of liberalism, as far as I know it to be, is kind of in a way moving forward with ideas and like stuff like that, right? Conservatism is trying to keep everything like where it should be. No shit, your old liberals are now conservatives. That's how that shit works. Why do you think younger people are more often liberal than conservative? Why do you think older people are conservative? It's because as newer ideas turn into older ideas, you shift from liberal to conservative. Like, that's how that shit works. I just don't right? Like, maybe I'm crazy. I should have stated this before I started ranting about any of this shit, but like, I don't know shit about dick, right? I don't fucking know what I'm talking about. So whenever I do talk about something, if I'm wrong, fucking get on me about it, please. But yeah, just I'm not somebody who's smart enough or knows enough for my opinion to be definitive. But what I'm trying to say is, what the fuck is your point regardless? Right? Your point, why are you why are you going out of your way to say that you used to be left until you moved? That's fine, right? It's okay that you've done that. I don't give a shit. But what importance does it have in the conversation that you are trying to have right now?
That because we are growing, if you want to include more people, because technically the lesbian flag has changed to an orange stripe for non-men such as myself. I still identify as a lesbian. I'm still here.
Can I ask you how you identify as a lesbian when you're not a woman?
Because I'm a non-man. Because
that's a terrible definition in my opinion, but that's fine. You're allowed to believe what you believe, because I believe in freedom of speech. But
so I believe in including everyone. It doesn't matter what other people go by. I think.
Yes. Oh my God. Fucking destroy her. Let her know. That's what it really is. We're all fucking people. Why can't I do what the fuck I want? Right? If I want you to, like, I don't know, again, if I want they, them pronouns, or he, him, or she, her, or whatever, whatever else I want, let me be identified that way. If I changed my name from Gavin to Jacob and I was like, hey, I want everybody to call me Jacob now, you're an asshole if you decide to not call me Jacob. You're an asshole now. So why is this different? It isn't. It fucking isn't. That's the thing.
I think that being left and
Stupid
having this
ass
conversation
people.
go to left means that we don't care anymore. Everyone can be a part of the community, no matter who you are. Labels don't
be
matter
inclusive.
as much as they did back then, because it was only the LGB. When we're moving towards the left, we're moving towards the the future, including more people.
sometimes gatekeeping is a good thing, though. Yeah. And sometimes segregation is a good thing.
Why?
Bitch literally just said sometimes segregation is a good thing. Are you fucking insane? That's some crazy shit.
Well,
why?
Well, how? Okay, so
I'm talking a lot, guys.
You're saying that, like,
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
you guys are accepting more, everything like that. So where's the line then? Because then we have
There is
straight
no line.
people. So
Does there have to be a line?
why have a community if everybody's in the community?
If you self-identify in the community, then we're all there for each other.
Right. I'm not somebody who identifies as being in the community. I mean, I'm excessively supportive, right? As far as LGBTQ anything goes, right? LGBTQIA+. Again, I'm supportive of all of it. Even if I don't understand all of it or know what it means, that's not necessarily what I need to do, right? Like, it doesn't matter. Let's include people who think that they're part of this group, right? If somebody, like, what do you mean, where's the community? The community is the group of people who think that who are aligned with that, like, group, right? I'm not somebody who is part of that. I'm not part of the LGBTQ community. I'm allowed to be if I want to. Tomorrow I can say, hey, let's do that. And then I'm a part of it. I could say, hey, again, maybe I am bi tomorrow, or maybe I'm gay, or I want to now be maybe I'm non-binary, or I want to, I want to transition. I can now do that. Why not allow these options for people, and why not just why not have a community of people who have somewhat similar experiences, even if I haven't specifically done certain things? God, just fucking stupid people. Why does there have to be a line, right? If you want to be a part of the community, then why does it matter? Holy shit, my grandparents I live in my grandparents' house. My grandparents have a Roomba, and the fucking Roomba hit my door, and it scared the shit out of me. because there's not supposed to be I'm the only person in the house right now. That shit scared me so fucking bad.
It's if you're straight and you identify as straight, you are not part of the community. I do not identify as straight. I identify as a non-binary lesbian.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Because the lesbian community has accepted me, because I don't feel comfortable in my gender identity, because growing up I didn't feel, accepted in the lesbian community. So now that we're moving left and we're accepting more people into it, I'm finally accepted in the community. People, actually do accept non-binary lesbians.
If you
Yeah. And that's fucking awesome, right? Why does it matter, right? I mean, at the end of the day, yes, we are making these labels for people and but like realistically speaking, at least the way that I see it, all of this is just a means to an end of people just being people, right? Like, I'm all for people being people and doing whatever the fuck they want, right? I mean, ultimately speaking, right, like, you can do whatever you want. There's going to be consequences for like certain actions, such as like, murder, right? That, I don't want people doing that, but like, at the end of the day, why the fuck are we adding restrictions ever whenever it comes to progressing, making people happy, right? Like, why are we ever outright going to say, hey, I really don't like that these people that I'm not a part of and I don't have to be affiliated with are making their lives a little better. And you know what? That makes me angry. Like, that's what the stupid ass Republican, like hardcore Republican, like thought process is on this shit. It's like, you're fucking stupid. Get over yourself. Let people do their own shit, right? Like, get your fuck.
You don't identify as a woman, and
So
a lesbian
frustrating.
is a woman who loves another woman, then why would you not identify as queer? And yes, we're going to labels here, but like genuine curiosity, I'm trying to understand.
But why does it matter?
Because if a lesbian
Why
is
does it
no
matter?
longer a woman who's sexually attracted to another woman, then a lesbian can be
Anybody.
anything.
Anybody.
A man.
Which is
A
literally
man.
what's happening
Yes.
in the world
That's
right now.
the problem.
Like
There
straight
has
up
to be-
dudes that are not trans women, straight up dudes going on lesbian dating apps and calling us transphobic and
I think there's a bit of a gray area there. If sorry to interrupt, correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm under the impression that with non-binary lesbians, there's a bit of a gray area because you can often have a very similar experience than a woman who is a lesbian being non-binary, because if you
because we're all female. You could
well,
say
if
it,
you're
it's okay.
if you're assigned female.
No, shut the fuck up. You didn't make a point there. You're dumb as hell. Shut the fuck up. I hate this lady.
At birth, and you date women, and you before you knew you were non-binary, you were all would imagine you were often in lesbian spaces, and that's what you identified with. So why should you be excluded from that community just because now you know you are non-binary, for example?
I think, like,
Yeah.
colloquially speaking, like, now we define lesbian as being, like, non-men, loving non-men.
I think there's a very small subset of people that define it that way.
I just think,
Yeah.
I mean, like, people that
I'm just being
I
honest.
Oh, yeah, that's
No,
totally
just
fine.
different
It's like
circles,
people who have,
different
yeah, absolutely. But I think also, like, language is always conformed around people and communities. Like, being trans and being non-binary is not a new thing. This has existed in, like, pre-modern society. It's not new.
Yeah. 100%. Like, why the fuck are you trying? God. This is what's so, like, frustrating about this conversation, right? Is I mean, again, I'll always stand on the point of people can do shit. Let people do things, right? But, like, again, shit changes. Like, that's just how this works, right? I mean, here, let's do a little experiment. Lesbian meaning. So right now, the meaning says, denoting or relating to women who are sexually romantically attracted to exclusively other women. Okay, sweet. That's fine. That can be put that way. And pretty much everything else that I've seen says a woman to a woman. Yes, that is what it says online. Whoa, that's what the definition is. Okay, but like now what's the new word? Because like, again, queer is a blanket statement that just that to my knowledge, let's do this shit. Queer meaning as far as sexually goes, it just does not correspond to the established. Yeah, so anything that is not heteronormal, basically, is queer. So gay is queer, lesbian is queer. So then we're just going to label, like, again, we might as well just now exclude the label of lesbian to non-man to man. Why not? Right? Why does it matter? Do you want another? We can make a new word for it if that's what you really want. I'm sure there's a word for it too. What is it called when someone when I could just say when a non-binary person is attracted to... I mean, that's another thing. Do we need another word for non-binary people who are specifically attracted to women, or non-binary people who are specifically attracted to men, or non-binary people who are attracted to other non-binary people, or anything else, right? I mean, again, that's the thing, is that there's more people too to be accounted for. I don't even really know any, and I kind of feel bad about that, to be honest. I don't know. I don't have other examples, but it's like, why draw those lines if the experience is similar? I think that's the point that they're trying to get at right now. Attracted to a woman. Do you want to call them a genisexual person every time that you have to sexual attraction? So yeah, now anybody who's attracted, honestly, maybe that's a better system, instead of like, because instead of having gay people like specific, I think it would be good to have, you know what? I revoked my idea. Immediately I realized it's bad. What I was going to say, and I'll just explain this real quick. What I was going to say, why don't we stop the labels in general? Why don't we just call people who are attracted to dudes or people who are attracted to women genisexual? But then I realized then that gets rid of like the community and the, like, I don't have the same experience as a gay person. So yeah, never mind. We're not doing that. But that's a stupid idea. I thought about it like 2% of the way and then just kind of said it out loud. But anyways, like, it's just, there just isn't good measures for this. So let's just include people instead of having to make all these different things that you have to remember and figure out. I mean, again, there's not very many people who actually expect you to know everything that this plus symbol stands for. And I mean, hell, I don't even really know what the I and the A are. Not even gonna lie. LGBTQIA meaning. So intersex, asexual. That makes sense. Okay. Gotcha. I just didn't know what that was. I've only ever seen LGBTQ+. So I guess I've probably seen IA. I've just never looked it up before. Yeah. And it's like, why does it matter? Let's just include people. Let people be people.
Language is always conformed around people. Like, we don't make things up and then people start identifying as them. Like, we conform language to fit identity. And, like, it's always been that way.
Although I do think people make up words and say
that's
that.
also
I'm
true.
sorry.
No,
they
that's
do.
also true. There's 100 genders now.
A million genders that people have literally just made up. It did not
Frog,
exist.
frog, self.
What does it affect you? What other people identify?
I don't care.
If they self-identify.
Yeah, absolutely.
Self-identify as a potato.
I feel like a very small group has become the example.
Then quit talking about it. Like, it's not like, okay, like, the fucking stupid thing is, like, this isn't an issue, right? Like, the thing is that Republican conservatives, extremist Republican conservatives, act like it's a fucking issue. It isn't. I live in my normal life and have not, I mean, realistically speaking, I have not come across anybody who has wanted to be anything other than, I mean, I've encountered gay, lesbian, trans, bi, and, queer people in my life. I don't know anybody off the top of my head that I've encountered that's asexual or intersex. I couldn't tell you any other genders that I've actually encountered in people. Like, this is a very, very small subset of people, I feel like, that you're hyper focusing on, that we're just trying to include. for, you know, like we're, you know, again, they feel like they identify a certain way. Let them do that. Why the fuck do you have to talk about it? There's no point. Like, I don't talk about it. You bring it up all the fucking time. If they didn't, like, there isn't a problem here, is what I'm trying to say. And the fucking conservatives are making a problem.
There's a small group of left and there's a small group of right that are louder than everybody else, and then everybody else is being forgotten.
Absolutely.
I think one thing that separated us is that I think you often, and I'm not trying to just point out, but since I am the friend of yours, that I can no longer support you because you don't support me, right? If I'm explaining, right? Okay. Because I believe that when you use your voice, you were coming from a place of privilege without realizing that the things that you were sharing were negatively attacking me and my lifestyle. You are able to have privilege because you don't show up like I show up. You're not a woman of color. You're not masculine. So it's easy for you to say, oh yeah, this is okay, but you're not realizing that you're forgetting me and my existence and what I might need. We're under attack. LGBTQIA+ is under attack. We have 650 plus anti-LGBTQ bills attacking our existence.
Yes,
a lot
exactly.
Of y'all talk about how it's mostly attacking trans kids, which we all should be pissed. If anybody's attacking our kids, we should all be pissed. But 350 plus attacking the LGB, which y'all want to just emphasize and say everybody else doesn't count. It's this, but we are all being attacked. And so for you to not see that is privilege. And I think that I just really need you to understand that.
Would you like to comment as a woman of color?
Yeah, absolutely. So what laws are affecting lesbian women of color?
In Florida right now, if there's a lesbian couple, because there's a lesbian couple that are going through this right now. Right now, if somebody calls the cops on a lesbian couple saying that they're being inappropriate, they could face jail time just for someone calling them and having to go through.
Children,
I don't know if that's
totally
true. If that is, then you text me because I'll go to DeSantis.
I've never
myself.
heard of that, and there's not many. I would
You'll
love
go
to
to DeSantis yourself? Shut the fuck up. I hate
these
you.
laws that are affecting me as
The fuck you will.
I am an American and I have every right as everybody else does. I have nothing stopping me from getting married, owning my own home, starting my own business. Nothing. Raising kids.
That's privilege.
How is that privilege?
But
How
she's
am I
also a
privileged?
person of color.
I'm a person of color.
I know, but you
So how
show
is
up
that
differently than I do.
How?
But you
But what-
presenting
your
masculine has no effect on that.
So since you
and being black.
I am also black. So I'm black and Hispanic. So what?
Me too.
What laws are different for you? I would like to.
Okay, well, if you want to talk afterward, I got you.
Okay.
I am on the board of Lambda.
Here's the thing. Because it isn't written out in paper, right? Like, yes, 100%. People of color legally don't have any real differences to white people. I mean, at least to my knowledge, I should say. Again, everything is to my knowledge, everything I say, so don't. Again, I'm a stupid asshole with a microphone and a camera on the internet, right? Like, this is whatever. But to my knowledge, there isn't any actual laws that are currently in state that actually make it so that way specifically, you know, again, people of color or lesbian people or whatever, any other group are specifically not allowed, other than honestly trans. I think trans people do have a lot of laws that are like outright just oppressing them, but whatever. Like, yeah, you do have the same legal rights, but that's not what the problem is. The problem isn't, I don't think that the laws like outright say gay people bad, you know, like the laws don't say that. The problem is that there are people out there who say gay people bad, and there is a cultural, like, there's a cultural phenomenon of not accepting those people, right? Like, why? Why do we have a problem with those people?
Illegal. We're fighting these 650 plus anti-LGBTQ bills. I have a list for you. Also, there's so many documentaries. The thing is, I think what you want to just battle with me instead of understanding that we just live differently. Our experiences are different. So all I'm asking y'all to do is understand that. I'm not trying to take away from you and whatever, but being able to be in that mindset without understanding somebody else's experience is privilege, and that's what I'm trying to get y'all to understand.
If I could butt in real quick, I want to go back to what, earlier you guys were saying, kind of the LGB, blah, blah, blah. That's also, not caring about the rest of the humans that self-identify as those people. We want to respect those people. Even if we don't agree with them, we're still going to respect them no matter what. You know, I may not agree with you guys, but I'm still going to respect you and what you self-identify as, which hopefully you will do the same to us, which is what you're saying, that the left is becoming right. That makes no sense because we're trying to advocate for the change. The right is advocating for keeping things the way they are.
Why we're running into all of these anti-LGBTQ legislation, as you put it, is because things have gone so far liberal that now we're facing this backlash from the traditional ultra-right community, which is why all of these bills are coming up, which is endangering our community as a whole.
How have things gone so far liberal? In what ways? Right? Like, I don't get it. What are Republicans upset at? You know? Like, why are they mad? What about? Because it's like it's not like they're saying they're forcing your kids to be gay or something like that. Like, you don't have to be gay because we're accepting gay people. You don't have to be trans because we're now accepting trans people. What the fuck are you guys afraid of? Right? Like, why are they that way? It just doesn't even fucking make sense. It's not that it's gone too far. It's that now that we've, allowed people to be people, and we've made legally most people can just do what the fuck they want now, right? Like, for the most part, there's still obviously a lot of issues, but like, for the most part, people can kind of just do whatever the fuck they want. But it's like, I don't know. It's not like it's gone too far. It would be so different if it was like, again, they were forcing like a certain number of people to be gay or something like that. But that's just not what's happening. That's not what liberals want. Liberals don't want people to like, it's not like a liberal parent's going to be disappointed that their kid isn't gay, right? Like, that shit doesn't happen in the real world. In the real world, what happens is that a kid turns out to be gay and their Republican parents don't accept them for it. And then they go no communication and ruin that experience and then blame it on the liberals as if it wasn't like that kid was just gay. Like, what are you scared of?
I think that is the basis of this. We have gone too far this way, and now this side is coming back to fight us.
In what ways?
I think there has been a lot of progress in the last few decades, and there is definitely a backlash from the far right because of that. But I don't think the solution to that is to say, oh, let's go back and be less progressive. I think we just need to carry on, and there will be backlash, but eventually those people will just get used to it. But I think it is a shame to be so divided, because that can't be good for the community.
That's true, and we also have to take accountability for our own community. Like, we aren't above anybody else. We need to take accountability and call out when it happens. We can't sit here and just be like, oh, poor me, our community, everyone hates us. Like, what are we doing?
Why are
these laws coming up? So most of the laws that are coming up, and the reason why acceptance of us has gone down,
women and children are being targeted.
That's
it. Don't mess with the women and children.
Women and children, that's not an attack against our community. That's people defending their group of people. You come for someone's kids, there's going to be lots of laws, and I hope that there would. Sorry, you come from women's spaces, I hope those women there's going to be laws. It's not an attack on us. It's an attack on these things happening and why our acceptance is going down so much.
I think, like, at any point, or at any point in history, something was once considered like too progressive, too radical.
Stupid as fuck.
And so, like, in this moment, like, you believe that, which is why I believe that, like, I'm so progressive, because in this moment, like, this may seem too progressive or too radical or too out there, and in 20 years from now, like, maybe we'll be saying, like, oh my gosh, our kids, they're so left and they're so progressive and they're so radical, and like, we'll feel like they're taking that charge and like they're pushing for. And so, like, but like, at a time, like, wearing pants was so radical, and like, you're all wearing pants except for me, like, at a time, like, that would have been insane, right? But like at this moment in time, like, you're sitting there saying that we're being too progressive and like too radical, but like, there was a point in time when what you're all doing, what you're all wearing, what you're all saying would have been too progressive or too radical.
I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, and you can even like, I think the Roomba just got stuck somewhere in the house. I think I just heard it beep. But anyways, like, the big thing is, it's like, again, we're just moving forward with letting people be people. Why? I mean, statistically speaking, people are happier whenever, like, LGBTQ whatever, like, yeah, they are happier after their transitions, and they don't, like, after their transitions and coming out and doing whatever, right? If it's, again, whether you're trans, queer, like gay, whatever it may be, people are happier. Why would we ever put any restrictions on people just simply being happier? Why does it matter?
I feel like comparing what somebody's wearing to transitioning kids,
harming children,
is a big,
How's
a
it
big
harming?
leap.
Hold up. Harming children? The fuck do you mean harming?
Get into that in a sec,
of course,
but
I'm
the
not
point is,
attacking
like,
you.
although you guys are saying, oh, be progressive, be open to everybody, let anything happen, anything goes. It's like when
Yeah.
kids are, well, that's kind of what she just said. Things are constantly changing. We're going to look back and
There
think,
has to be gatekeeping. There has to be.
There's kids being harmed right now. There
How
are
are they
children
being harmed?
There are children committing suicide and removing body parts as minors. This is what my group does and what I do, eat, breathe, and sleep every day. And I see adult detransitioners crying, can't live their life, and on the verge of suicide because their parents took them to a clinic where they got breast removed at 12 years old. Their breast removed at 12 years old, and that is starting. People are fighting for those rights to do that. That's disgusting.
Our friend Chloe Cole was.
I
had a
agree,
double
but that's
vasectomy
less
at
than
16.
what is that one? The deter.
Less than 1%. Yeah. Less than 1%. More people are, less than 1% of people who get gender affirming, like, care and, like, you know, surgeries that alter your gender in any way, less than 1% of them regret it afterwards. Statistically, like, that is how that works. More than 30% of people who get something like a knee surgery or a hip replacement regret that surgery. More people regret getting their hip replaced than getting gender affirming care. Like, it fucking speaks for itself, you know?
Transitioners are
No, honey,
less than
it doesn't
1%,
matter,
right?
right? It doesn't matter.
I'm just
Maybe
let's
the ones that are
I
public
just said
about
I
it.
agree though
Maybe
with
the
the
ones that
kids
are-
situation, but
That
I'm
is
just saying we often target a very low percentage and make it the example.
Hey, what's up?
And that's what I feel like conservatives and Republicans do, is y'all target one example, one
I don't think I'm
situation,
gonna
and
watch this shit
act
for
like
much
it's
longer.
the whole
It's kind of
community.
annoying.
I would date a trans woman.
Yeah, no, this shit, like, it's just, it's fucking stupid. This entire argument is just cancer. And especially that lady. Lady, this lady.
right?
Fuck
See, a
her.
lot of
She's
people-
so
a lot of
annoying. God
people
damn
don't
it.
know. I mean, does she have a vagina? I don't like.
That's a genital preference, not.
Disgusting to say genital preference. Please don't call it a genital preference. It's a sexual orientation.
Exactly. So when
I don't prefer vagina. I don't like dick.
So when you're saying sexual orientations, you are.
Calm the fuck down. What the fuck is her problem? Why did that offend her so
I
bad?
prefer vagina. I don't like dick.
So
That's fine.
when you're saying sexual
Fuck is your
orientations,
problem?
you are referring to who you are attracted to.
Correct.
When you are saying that you do not have a preference for that genital portion, that is labeled as genital preference.
That's
So
your label. That's not my label.
Sorry, would you mind if I finish? Sorry. So trans women, what the question is that's gender. It doesn't matter whether they've gone through their procedures or not. If we're dating a trans woman, it shouldn't matter whether they have a vagina or a penis or anything.
So I should like convince myself.
This entire video is just this non-binary person just fucking destroying this lady here. Like, God, they just decimate her. Like, God, Jesus Christ, it's
That I
insane.
have to be attracted.
All the unemployed people on the show is astonishing how they find the worst people on the planet and make represent. I know, right? Well, and it's like, okay, these people, they just got done fucking complaining about how, again, a less than 1% of people. They just got done complaining about how less than 1% of people like are again, get it, like, for transitioning, like, surgeries, less than 1% of them fucking regret it afterwards. That's what I've been trying to say. Sorry, can't get my thoughts together. But, like, more people fucking regret, like, knee and hip replacements than gender affirming care. Like, fucking suck on that shit. I don't know what to tell you. And like they just it's fucking ridiculous.
I personally
they feel like they're
would
being
date a
attacked for
trans
some
woman,
reason.
But I don't think it's transphobic not to want to. And because that doesn't define whether
Thanks for the
that
follow,
trans
man.
woman is a woman or not, just someone else's preference. That trans women are women regardless of where they are at in their transition. I
Exactly,
100%
yeah.
believe that. But
If you identify
whether
as a
or
woman,
not
you're a woman.
someone is
That's how that shit
attracted
works.
to them because of that doesn't
That's it.
affect who they are. And for me personally, I am more attracted to the female energy, like presentation and being. For me, it's more about that than what they have down there. For me personally, but it's not like that for everyone.
Well, it's like, I mean, again, more than likely, will I end up dating a trans woman in my life? Probably not, just because it's a very small, again, minority of people. But like, would I be open to seeing what would happen? Sure, why not? I mean, I don't personally find an issue with that, right? I am a straight white male. I am as privileged in society as it gets, right? But at the end of the day, why does it matter? What if this is, I mean, she's a woman. If she identifies as a woman. So let's, again, let's see if I like her as a person. Let's see if we connect. Let's see if that works. Why the fuck does it matter?
Everybody, like,
I don't know. Again, and if you don't like dating a trans woman, then don't. Right? That's not my problem. Then don't. It's that simple.
Okay, I don't think that's.
And I'm not one of those people that's going to take away the validity of how somebody experiences themselves.
Yeah,
So don't take away my experience.
As
How
long as
I
you're
see
not-
myself
yeah.
as a lesbian.
It's
That's what this
different-
means to me.
Yeah, it's different than someone saying, "Oh, that's not a real woman. I don't want to date."
I never said that.
Yeah, that's different. But someone just not
Kind of what you said,
have
but
not
whatever.
feeling attracted. I don't think that's a problem.
Trans women are trans women, and trans women can be many different
No, I don't think
at
it's
stages
nice.
in their
I
life.
don't think it's nice either to just say trans women are trans women instead.
Trans women are women.
Well, they are, but they are
if
also
if a trans
women.
woman is a woman, then I can be a trans woman as a woman.
No,
a
but
trans,
well,
you're taking to
woman
me,
is
to me,
an,
you're, to
an
me,
umbrella term.
I'm sure you could figure it out. If you want
is
to
a
do that, then go for it.
Of women.
I
So
don't agree with that.
You could be a blonde woman, a trans woman, a pink-haired woman, and
so
when you
me-
specifically say trans women
Still
are
a
trans
woman.
women, you're kind of saying that they're not the same as us.
They're not. They're not. That's the whole purpose
Still a
of
woman.
them transitioning, right?
I don't know.
I also just want to say that I think that when we're talking about dating,
You're right.
trans
Yeah.
women-
The whole purpose of transitioning is to turn into a woman. It's not to turn into a trans. The fuck? What point are you trying to make here? It's stupid. It's so stupid.
or dating trans people, like non-binary people fall under the trans umbrella. So like I would also include dating non-binary people. Like I know we're thinking about trans women specifically, but like non-binary people are trans, and like they also fall under that umbrella. And like there's I feel like any like non-man dating a non-man, like we've now defined as being a lesbian.
Would you date a woman with a penis?
I think that personally I have a genital preference, but I
You
would
suck it, would you?
currently like I would say that I have a genital preference, but I would never.
Yeah, I have a
rule anything
genital
out. Like,
preference.
I've dated non-binary people. I wouldn't rule out dating anyone. who's
Fucking
trans. I
sue
think I'm
me.
also-
I have a preference on how I like somebody, right? Like, fucking, I don't know what to tell you. That's still not a problem.
like a very progressive and open-minded person. I wouldn't say that if I loved someone that I would rule them out for being trans.
I don't
Right.
like the fact that you used open-minded, but you're allowed to say that, of course. It's your
What do you mean?
prerogative to say how you feel. But to me, open-minded comes across as me being closed-minded. And I don't think you can, I'm just saying, like, I'm not closed-minded because I have a sexual orientation that's monosexual.
Absolutely.
Thank you, appreciate that.
That's fine. Yeah. I just don't understand why we put restrictions. Why can a trans woman not be a woman? What the fuck is your, like, what is your problem? Why do these people get so fucking, like, upset with people just trying to be what, who they feel like they are? Why is that a problem? Let people be who they are. If I feel like I'm someone and I want to be someone, let me do that. Let me figure this shit out, Let me be who I want to be.
Well, I agree. One is not better than the other, but we can all have our preferences, right? I don't agree that trans women are women. trans women are trans women. Trans women are men who have suffered
Whatever.
through gender dysphoria, who have
Been
transitioned
over that.
into presenting as women or going through surgeries, taking hormones. That is perfectly fine. They're
They present
completely
as women
valid
to
in who they
be a
are.
woman. They're
But
not.
it's also okay for me to have a preference.
They're
meaning
trying to be a
I'm not
woman with an
interested
asterisk
in
next to
male
it. The fuck do you
I
want?
have dated trans people before, trans men. That's great. I love that. But trans women, it doesn't do anything for me. That doesn't make me transphobic, which is why I say no. It's
Fine,
not
you're
that
not.
they're bad people. There's nothing wrong with them. They're completely valid
You have a
individuals.
preference.
But I
It's
also
fine.
don't have to agree that, number one, they're a woman, because they're not. And number two, I don't have to say that I'm attracted.
I think this is a stupid, like, middle ground piece, actually. Putting I would date a trans woman is a fucking stupid thing to put up there. Because it's like, I mean, that's not the point of this conversation that they're trying to have, right? The point of the conversation that they're trying to have is, are trans women women? That's what Jubilee is trying to, like, present as the middle ground here without outright saying it. 100% that's what's happening. But, like, you know, because they got to bring in anything political they can into the conversation. But, like, the fucking stupid ass thing about this entire conversation is it's like, yeah, it's down to preference, right? Like, I'd be open to seeing what would happen if I was to try and date a trans woman. Why not? The fuck doesn't matter to me, right? But, like, at the same time, it's just dumb. Like, my preference is probably not, right? I mean, I probably wouldn't end up dating a trans woman, but at the end of the day, like, maybe I would. I don't see a reason in not trying. But again, that's my preference. If you don't want to, then fucking don't. There's nothing wrong with that.
To them because I'm not.
Why do you say they're not women?
Because they're not.
Why though? If you could.
Because our definitions of woman are different.
Well, you could say they're not female, but they're a woman, because being a woman is just a gender, it's not biological.
It's not the sex of the person.
Yeah.
It's the gender identity.
Two
of the
separate
So
things.
here's where we have a disagreement, because I believe that sex and gender are the same thing. If you were born a man, you will always be a man. Now, if you want to transition to be a woman, that's awesome. You can be exactly who you want to be. That doesn't change your chromosomes. That doesn't change the hormones that your body naturally wants to produce. If you have to inject yourself with hormones to become something, you are not that thing.
No, you are. You just injected yourself with hormones to now become that thing. What the fuck is your problem? Right? Like, I just don't get it. I really don't get it. Why do they, like, feel like if I change something into something else, it turns into that thing? Right? Like, I don't, what the fuck is your problem here?
What about intersex people? Humans.
So going right back to like the extremely small percentage, intersex people are completely valid.
But that's much more common than people realize, especially when you're a woman like myself that produces more testosterone.
All lesbians.
Than most women. No, no. You don't. No.
What do you mean all lesbians?
Yes,
Hold up.
especially athletes, just masculine women. There's women that suffer from PCOS, I think,
Yes.
saying it
Yep.
correctly. There's been women taken out of, that have medals taken away in the Olympics and things like that because their testosterone is higher. It's much more common that those things occur, like especially with intersex humans, than people realize. So I'm just wondering, how do you feel about that? Because you touched on a very small percentage earlier with the kids, right? So can we?
That's fair.
Sure.
Yeah. Can we just? I just want to know how you feel about that.
I have no issue with intersex individuals. Again, we're going back to our orientation and our preference. If I was attracted to someone who might be intersex, that's great. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm not. Or maybe I've just never experienced someone like that before, and that's fine too. They're not invalid as humans. They're not invalid in their identity, but I don't have to.
But trans
change
women are for
my
some reason. What the
attraction or
fuck?
Force an attraction just to help fulfill someone else.
No, it's not the attraction I was wondering about. It was if
Yeah.
they need to take.
The problem has nothing to do with what your fucking preferences are. Quit making this shit about you, lady. If that's not the fucking point. What the hell? It's not about you. It's about, does this person, again, you're saying that person is not a woman. The fuck is your right to do that?
Their body to be able to present as they're seen. How do you feel? Are you saying that they're not how they present because of that? And that's what I was asking.
That's a really interesting.
She hasn't said a fucking word yet, I don't think. Maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like she hasn't fucking said a single word. So you know what? So far I have nothing to complain about. Wait, hold up. Pamela.
The left, and then that divides all of us. And
woman
Oh,
is a
never
woman
mind.
or
Yeah, I
not,
do.
just someone
All right.
else's preference. That 100% isn't me personally. And so
Where was I?
The whole purpose.
So like, but like not.
Like, thank you. Appreciate
Number one.
Why do you say they're not with?
So, especially when you're a woman like myself that produces out of what is
issue with intersex individuals. Again, we're going back to our orientation.
I just very small percentage earlier with the kids, right? So
Okay.
can we?
That's fair.
Back here.
Yeah, can we just? I just want to know how you feel about that.
I have no issue with intersex individuals. Again, we're going back to our not my attract else.
Something to balance out their body to be able to present as they're seen. How do you feel? Are you saying that they're not how they present because of that? And that's what I was asking.
I think they are.
Interesting question. In the case of someone being born intersex, which given that is not something that I have very deep knowledge on, and I'm going to go ahead and put that out there. I don't have, very extended knowledge on people who are intersex, but I don't see an issue with that. I really don't. Like, if you have to take hormones to present a certain way, have your voice go up, go down, grow body hair, not grow body hair, okay, then you are forcing a change upon yourself. And that's simply the reality of the situation.
Or just balancing out the body to be healthy.
Okay, so we could also put this, say, cis men who, as they age, start taking testosterone replacement therapy, TRT. That doesn't make them not men. That's just balancing their hormones. So yes, I can understand.
So then that
yes,
kind of
okay,
that
I
combats.
understand.
Yeah. So that's what I'm asking you to think about when you think of the trans community as well. You get what I'm saying?
It's a really interesting thought. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I just that's all I wanted you to do is just consider something that's often missed.
Sure. In the case of
Shit.
intersex, absolutely.
Does she just solve transphobia? That's kind of how that felt, because that was a fucking that's a good point. I've never even fucking thought of that, and I'm not transphobic, but like, so I haven't really needed to think about that, but like, that's a really good point. I'm gonna use that shit now. That's a good point.
Absolutely, I can see your point. In the case of assigned female at birth, assigned male at birth, transitioning, that's a completely different ballgame.
No, it's not.
I didn't get to talk earlier, but I love women.
Oh.
I agree with you earlier of like, I guess, genital preference, but I'm not limiting myself because if I meet a beautiful human I have a connection with, we'll figure it out. I don't know. That's just how I feel. And
yeah,
I don't know. I also just
a good way to put
think
that.
that to assume that a trans woman is whether they have their parts or not, and if they use them in a traditional way is a little bit gross to just
That's not true
lead
either.
with that. No, I'm just saying to automatically assume, like, because you went to, are you gonna suck a dick? Are you gonna suck a dick? Often my trans women
So good,
friends
though.
and the ones that I've dated don't want to show up that way
Most of
in
them
a
don't.
sexual
Yeah.
space. So I think that's what I'm saying. I think it's gross to think about it like that.
I think that there is nuance to this conversation. I think I have the fundamental understanding that if I'm going to date a trans man, they are a trans man, which means they were born a female, which means they have